So in this video, we're going to solve a quadratic equation, but we're going to do it a different way. In one of the last videos, we were solving quadratics in order to sketch them, and we did that by factorising, which generally comes out with, if not a whole number, certainly an easy to deal with fraction. That's not always going to be the case. Sometimes it could be long decimal numbers, and this is the way we can deal with it. And what's important to note is, if you're asked to solve a quadratic and you can't find a way to factorise it, you can solve every quadratic by using this method. Okay? And it's using the formula here. What's important to know is that formula is given in the exam. So as long as you know how to use it, you won't have to need to remember it. Okay? So we go through this all. A quadratic general equation would be ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. You're trying to solve it, because remember, when you're solving a quadratic, it always needs to equal 0. And this extra thing where it says a cannot equal 0, that's just, we need to put that in because if a was 0, that would cancel out and then it wouldn't be a quadratic. It's just something we need to write in afterwards to make sure we're correct mathematically. Okay, so a is a number, or the coefficient multiplying x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant that's left over. And then we come to the equation. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Okay, so the first thing we need to worry about is what are a, b and c, and then we just put them into the equation and then solve it. This plus or minus is what's going to result in us having two answers apart from one very specific situation. And as you remember from solving quadratics, they have two roots, apart from times when they don't, which we're going to be talking about later. So, look here, x squared plus 5x plus 3. We're solving them to two decimal places. What is the value of a? A is multiplying x squared. If there's no number there, that means that a equals 1. B is going to be plus 5, so we can just say 5. And c is going to be 3. So let's substitute all that in. Negative b, so it becomes negative 5 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. And all of that is divided by 2 times a, which is 1. So let's simplify that a bit. 5 squared is 25. 4 times 1 is 4, times 3 is 12. All divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. 25 minus 12 is 13. That's as far as we've gone with it right now. And now we're going to split this up into two solutions. We're going to take the plus and we're going to take the minus and solve it twice, but once with the plus and once with the minus. Okay, so what I did is I had negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 13 divided by 2. And then all I've done is split it up into two separate equations where x equals negative 5 plus root 13 over 2, or x equals negative 5 minus root 13 over 2. And then I'm going to get my calculator. I'm going to put that in. Negative 5 plus root 13 divided by 2. And that's going to come out as negative 0.697, which to two decimal places will be negative 0.70. Let's do the next one. Negative 5 minus root 13 divided by 2. And that's going to be negative 4.302 ... which rounds to negative 4.30 to 2 decimal places. Okay, it's just substituting into an equation and then working it out. So let's do another one. What's the value of a? So what a multiplies what the x squared, so that means a is 4. What's the value of b? It is negative 3 this time. And then what's the value of c? Negative 2. I nearly ran out of space there, so that's why I'm doing this a bit more small. Okay, so then I'm going to write out x equals, now this is where you need to be careful, it is negative b, and b is negative 3. So that's telling you it's negative 3, which comes out as positive 3. All over the square root of b squared. So negative 3 squared minus 4 times a times negative 2. All over 2 times 4. What is negative 3 squared? Well, negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. 4 times 4 is 16, times negative 2 is negative 32. So you get 9 minus negative 32, all over 8, because 2 times 4 is 8. So then let's simplify that a little bit. We've got 3 plus or minus 9 minus negative 32, which is 9 plus 32, which is 41, all over 8. And now let's break it up into the two separate equations. X equals 3 plus root 41 over 8, or x equals 3 minus root 41 all over 8. And let's get our calculator out. 3 plus root 41 divided by 8, which is 1.175 ... which rounded to 2 decimal places would be 1.18. And the next one, 3 minus root 41, 3 minus root 41 divided by 8 will give us negative 0.425 ... which rounds to be negative 0.43 to 2 decimal places. And that's how you can use the quadratic equation, which is what this is called, to solve for the roots, or to solve a quadratic equation. This mostly, as you might expect, come up in a calculator exam, and you can almost use the exam to find out whether or not you're having to use this, because if it's expecting you to use the quadratic equation, it will usually say something along the lines of give your answers to 2 decimal places. That's the first clue that you need to use this method. And that's when you just go turn to the front, look at the formula, and then start having to go with the question. Okay? So that was the quadratic equation.